The end is near, and that means the crowning of a new Nationwide Series champion is just around the corner. But first, the eventual champion needs to get through the obstacle that is Texas Motor Speedway. Welcome to a Saturday at the racetrack as we get ready for 200 laps and 300 miles. It has been a few weeks since the series has been in action, so how about a quick recap? Its points leader, Austin Dillon, and 8 behind is second place Sam Hornish Jr. Through the first 30 weeks of this season, Sam led the way after 15 races. Austin, after only 5. Dillon is the points leader now because of what happened starting in Dover. Hornish stumbled and finished 17th, Rusty.
Oh, yeah, his car just not handled at all. Had a bad handling car throughout the day. Had issues on pit road, and I'm now on the way to Kansas now.
Same result in Kansas, another 17th. He was just loose all day there. And basically, when they went to Charlotte, they played to a draw, finished second and third.
Yeah, you know, Sam really started losing that momentum in Dover. Austin started picking up the mojo, being very consistent, put a lot of heat on Sam, took the points lead from him.
Sam had the lead after Kentucky and Dover. Dillon took over the lead in Kansas with a 12-point swing. He maintained that lead after Charlotte. As we come inside our home for the afternoon, nestled right in the middle of it all, Texas Motor Speedway. It's the Quicken Loans ESPN Pit Studio. Hello, hello. I'm Nicole Briscoe alongside Rusty Wallace, Brad Doherty, and Ray Evernham. It has been 2 weeks off. It's a chance for these teams to regroup. What have they been able to gain in their time away from the track?
Well, regrouping is the key word there. They've had 2 weeks to go back and look at their season, see where they were strong, where they were weak. The 3 and the 12 are competing against one another for the next 3 races with a pile of points. So it gives them time to prepare their equipment and make a plan where they're going to beat those guys.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for Sam Hornish to reset the button and to slow down some of that momentum that Austin Dillon had gained on him. I think it's more beneficial to that 12 team than necessarily is for Austin Dillon.
I think it really helped the small teams, the ones that are not funded really good. Look at Alex Bowman, a little bitty team. He grabbed the pole position for today's race. I think it helped the little guys to time off.
If you look at the remaining 3 tracks, so Texas, Phoenix, Miami, it could be a landslide championship for Austin Dillon based on these numbers. Dillon's average finish at the final 3 tracks, 8.6. Hornish's average finish, 18.9. But only Hornish has won a race at one of those final 3 races. The numbers never lie.
No, numbers lie at this point. If you're Sam Hornish, you forget those numbers. You're looking forward. Next 3 races, that's all that matters.
You can't forget those numbers, though, because Austin Dillon has outpointed Sam on those tracks in history. He's got to step it up.
And he's outpointed them on 1.5 mile tracks this season.
Today's all that matters.
You got Texas and Miami. Dillon has outpointed Sam on those tracks by 30 so far this year.
Yeah, he really has. He's been doing a really good job. But I tell you what, there's a big question running around whether or not these two have lost momentum with the off time. In my opinion, they haven't, because they left Charlotte. They finished second and third. Neither one of them had momentum over each other. So they needed to dig down, find something more to pick their cars and make them run better.
I think that it may have broken the momentum that the 3 car had. It's no different than calling a timeout in basketball.
Yeah.
Somebody's run up the score, timeout breaks
right.
the momentum.
Yeah, they broke Austin Dillon's momentum, I do believe, if either one of these two are going to suffer. I think it's a great opportunity for Sam to regroup, get his breath back, and start running well again.
Sam has a win so far this season. He got a win at Las Vegas very early on in the season. Austin Dillon still winless. How important is it for that team, that driver, to get a win as they close out the
Not important at all. He has been so consistent. That consistency is what's gotten him into this points lead and can win him his championship. He doesn't have to win.
I tell you what, Brad, I want to talk about this race though. I'm really looking at this particular track as a good track for Sam Hornish. He runs better on the top of 3 and 4 than Austin does. I think this is going to be a great Sam Hornish day today.
I say we get this afternoon rolling. Race 31 of this season, 3 to go, starting with this one this afternoon at Texas Motor Speedway. Let's go trackside for pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Colleyville Police Department Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Texas Alliance Raceway Ministries chaplain Brett Schisler offers today's invocation.
Would you please join me in prayer? Most loving and gracious God, we come to you this afternoon and we thank you. We thank you for this beautiful afternoon. And Lord, we come to you and we give thanks to the men and women all over the world to help to keep us free, that we can be here to pray as free people. We give thanks for all of the people that have worked so hard to put this together. Lord, especially we come to you this afternoon and we ask for your safety. We ask that you be with the drivers, the crews, all of the people here today, and especially, Lord, all of those and track safety. It's with your son in mind we come to you and we say, amen.
And here to perform our national anthem, please welcome semifinalist on season 4 of The Voice, Amber Carrington.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Coming up when we come back, the other championship on the line. And the big question, there are 5 former series champions in this race, but is payback on the mind for one of them? That is next. The Quick and Moan's ESPN Pit Studio before we fire those engines.
Well, we're always talking about the top 2 in points because, hey, they deserve it. No doubt about that. But what about Alex Bowman? He's the guy I'm thinking about. This little team, grabbed the pole position. He looks good. I just wonder if he can have the best finish of his career today.
Be awesome. For me, I'm thinking back to Kansas, and there's a little bit of payback, I would think, on Brad Keselowski's mind. Is today the day that he pays back Mr. Busch?
Well, why those guys are worried about that, one of those 2-time returning champions is Ricky Stenhouse. Look for the 16 and maybe be a spoiler today.
Yep.
Would be definitely a driver to watch. Let's get upstairs to the guys in the booth. It's Alan, Andy, and DJ. You guys, please take it away.
All right, Nicole, thanks. So getting ready for that critical round in the championship on a very fast and very tricky racetrack. The race here for the Nationwide Series back on April 12th. 8 cautions, a spin about every 20 laps. What are we going to see today?
Probably a lot more of the same. It's no less tricky than it was, maybe a little more so, because that race was at night whenever the track had a little bit more grip. Here today in the sunshine, these drivers are going to have their hands full. We've seen it throughout practice and qualifying. These cars sliding around as they try to attack this track. I foresee more of this happening.
And the other thing is this series has a limited amount of tires that they can run in this race. So we'll see guys out there on older tires with a track that has lost quite a bit of grip, and I expect that we will see some guys lose control of these race cars today.
So expect a difficult race, particularly for some of the younger drivers in the field, and they are going to have some pretty good role models out on this track because we have a star-filled field.
We do. We've got a lot of the Cup stars that are here. That's how you know it's a big event, because they come out for it, and Texas always puts it on in a big way. These Cup drivers are going to give some good competition to those point leaders, and it could affect the championship somewhat, because I think the point leaders, Austin and Sam Hornish, are going to be up front racing for the win. But these Cup drivers are going to keep them honest.
Yeah, and they have an advantage because of that experience and things that they can do in a situation like today on a very difficult track, as we talked about. But it's also an opportunity for these young drivers to learn some things as they race around these other champions that are involved in this race today.
You see Matt Kenseth in the field, Kyle Busch in the field. Of course, Kyle's so strong here at Texas. He's still the favorite for the day, even with all this stiff competition.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult for him. I don't think it'll be a runaway by any means, but he's certainly the favorite. Has just dominated things here in the past.
Yeah, I think he's a favorite, but I also think his teammate Matt Kenseth over here running a nationwide race. I'm not sure the 18 team is quite as strong as the 54 team, even though they come out of the same stable. I do believe that Matt will find a way to the front before the end of the race.
Denny Hamlin also in the race today for the Joe Gibbs stable, subbing for Brian Vickers. And of course, that rivalry between Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch that we've seen, well, it's back on track here in Texas for the first time after an incident in a race at Kansas last month that left them agreeing to disagree, let's just say. And we'll see if they're up front racing for the win today, if they agree to disagree some more. Drivers getting buckled in, the last safety equipment all strapped up. Time to go trackside and fire the engines.
Ladies and gentlemen, here to give the command to start engines for today's race, owner of Walton Brake and Muffler, Dwayne Walton.
Drivers, start your engines!
Ready to race in the Lone Star State. 300 miles for the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Texas Motor Speedway. Back in the field today, name mentioned earlier, the man who's won the championship in this series the last 2 years before moving on full-time to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series this season, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the Mississippi native who was the champion in 2011, came back to win it all again in 2012, and along his way to the title, a victory here in Texas. Ricky's our in-race reporter. We talk to him next.